there we go. What is going on, good people? It's your boy Glenn Lawrence, and I am back. It's the Blurred Dad himself, and welcome to the Blurred Dad Podcast, a space where we have unfiltered conversations and nerd out about fatherhood. And guess what? We're preparing for a relaunch. If you haven't noticed, we're preparing for a relaunch. We did a test before. My homie, old Mike B, came through. He was talking about all kinds of things. He's talking about Kiki Palmer, Jonah Hill, all kinds of crazy stuff, and just catching up. You know what I mean? That's what we do. We're catching up, and that's what we're going to do here. So we're going to have another conversation today and just catch y'all up, man. I'm trying to get my sea legs under me. I'm trying to make this podcast a little bit more entertaining, fruitful, and dynamic. And I think I got just the person to talk to you all about that sort of thing. So I'm very, very excited for him to come in and talk about that. It's a surprise right now. I'm not telling you who it is. I'm not giving it away. I am keeping it a surprise because I think you'll be very happy when you see him. His little face pop, not little. Why do I say little? That's something I get from my mom. I always say little. It's not a little face. He's got a normal size face. He's a normal size human. It's not the Beetlejuice shrunken head thing. It's a normal size human head. But he's going to come in. We're going to start talking about some things and just catching up because I haven't talked to him in a while. But it's going to be a good time. I think we're going to have fun. But before we do that, let me pay the bills a little bit. I got to talk about one of my favorite companies out there in the world. It's called They Made Me Wear It. Yes, They Made Me Wear It. It's a great little shop. You get all these different type of clothing, outfits, necklaces, charms for your pets. And everybody knows how people love their pets. And the people that I like, they like their pets. So, you know, it's right. It's a nexus right there. People who like their pets and me, we get along very well. So I'm trying to hit y'all up and let y'all know that They Made Me Wear It is the place to go. That kind of rhymed. I got bars right now. You know, that was so good that I might even hit the serious cam on them. You know what I'm saying? Like that was bars. Okay, let's get back to business. They Made Me Wear It. It's a mom and pop. No, wait, it's not a mom. It's a husband and wife team. That's what it is. They're not mom and pops. They're dog parents. But there's a husband and wife team. They're together. They're on a mission to make sure that your pet is outfitted and laced in the best gear. And all of their proceeds go to helping pets. Well, first, of course, it helped their family, and then it goes to the other nonprofit, which I'm actually forgetting right now because it was in my notes, and I don't actually have my notes in front of me. So I'll try. Oh wait, here we go. Here it is. They are Hope for Paws. That is the nonprofit that they also give some of their proceeds to make sure that you know, those paws can get taken care of, man. Those pets can take taken care of. So, what are you waiting for? You should check out They Made Me Wear It. I'm probably not going to be paid for this ad because I did not do it justice in reading it, but you know, it's all good. They're great people. They'll appreciate it anyway. You know what I mean? Check out code word blurred for 15% off for anything you get at the shop. Now that the bills are paid, I told you I had a special guest for you, and I do. He's coming up right now. It's one of my good friends ever since I've been, you know, in this game doing comedy and all these other things. I wish I would have met him sooner. I wish I could say we were day ones, but we're like day threes. You know what I mean? He's been in the game for a minute. He had his early life, and then, you know, and now he's here with me. I'm talking about my big homie, Ralph Cooper. What is going on, brother? Coop, what's happening?
What it do?
Hey, listen, that background is amazing. That background, you know.
Just saying, man. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, man. Hey, listen, what are you working from home right now?
It's Gucci Daddy season, son. You know what I'm saying? I got to stay up on it. You know what I mean? You see what it is.
Hey,
you know what I'm
there you
saying?
go, man. Hey,
Send
listen,
you between these auditions. You see what it is. You know what I'm
I
saying?
know what it is. Listen, I have I feel like I've learned a lot. I learned a lot from your studio setup, and I feel like I became even more of a man.
Oh, I like it. Your studio setup is sweet.
Oh
The
yeah,
wall and stuff behind you and stuff, man.
look, got my
That's
eagle
nice.
shrine
The
in
what?
the back.
The eagle what?
My eagle shrine. Got my little
No, every
AJ
time you
Brown
say something about
jersey.
the Eagles, you drop out. I don't know. And I can't hear you. Every time you say
Every time I say E-A-G-L
drops out.
S.
Drops out. Can't help it. Well, I'm trying to hear you, but it's not working.
Nah,
It's not
man.
working.
Listen,
It's
listen.
beautiful. I love the setup though. It's really nice.
Hey,
Really
thank you. I've been trying. So before when I was doing the podcast, I was in an apartment, and it was crazy because it was a small apartment. You could see Stephanie in the back trying to put the baby to sleep. Like she's trying to hide her breastfeeding while I'm doing
Right.
the podcast.
Right. Keep it
She's like,
slurping down, kid. Like, God, you don't see me over here working.
you'll see daddy
Jesus.
working. You know what I mean?
Just selfish. Just worried
Yeah,
about
man.
yourself.
It's a wild world. But now we have the studio, and I was getting this all together. So that was a reason why I hadn't streamed in a while. And then it got to the point, I don't know if you had this when you were a dad. Like you say, like, all right, I need to take some time to take care of the kids, but then that filters into almost like being lazy and using it as an excuse to do it. So I was doing that for a while, and I was like, wait a minute, you got this whole studio, it is set up, you can get back to work. And I'm like, you're
That's
right.
it. That's it. No, I mean, I definitely feel as though I've used my children for a convenient excuses many times for me not to do a lot of things. And it's crazy because society-wise, you could tell somebody, "Oh man, it's my kids," and instantly they're like, "Yeah, no, you're right. You know what? You're right. You're good. Just don't even worry about it, man. Handle that." You know what I'm saying? Family, dog.
Hey,
Family, dog. Like, you know what I'm saying? Meanwhile, I'm high as shit, passed out with my wife. So, um, yeah,
you
the way
need
it
that.
works.
Listen, anytime I use my kids as an excuse, I believe I strongly, I'm into it. You know what I mean? I just
The only problem with using your kids as an excuse is you only got really like an 18-year window to really get it in. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
once people come to like your kids' graduation from high school or something like that, nobody has any sympathy anymore for anything that happens with you and your children.
that's true.
It goes from like, oh my God, she's gonna be so great one day to like, well, you need to get that bitch a job, get her out your house. But damn, like, and it's
It
that
turns
fast
just
too.
that quick. It turns just
That
that
fast,
fast.
man. That fast. So yeah, man. Yeah,
Uh,
that's where I'm at.
yeah, man. You know what though? I don't listen. If I don't like using my kids as an excuse, and I'll tell you why. When I was younger, I worked at Costco, right? And there was
Mm,
one weekend where I wanted to go to the beach. So I said, my grandmother's sick, you know what I'm saying?
mhm,
Like, so I
mhm.
used that excuse, and and then she did get sick, and then
Exactly. Yeah,
she passed away. And
yeah,
so now ever since
yeah.
then, I'm like, I can't put it on somebody if I make an excuse to like get out of work or something. I can't,
What's funny about that, brother? Outside of the fact that you just said it, which makes a lot of sense. Uh, I I have recently been trying to, on the comedy tip, uh, move myself away from jokes about my children.
right.
And it's really hard to do because they are
They're
danger levels
hilarious.
of content, bro. I'm trying to tell you, but it really comes down to like um there's a joke that I have, and the insinuation is that my daughter, here we go, big word time. The insinuation is that my daughter has performed fellatio and then decided to let me know, oh yeah, you were right, nothing good comes of this. um but if I you know but I tell the joke, and I missed a word or two in setting it up. And when I showed my wife, she was like, "Yo, you making it sound like my daughter's just out there gobbling." Like, and I was like, "Oh shit!" And I hadn't thought about it like that because, like, now she's a senior in high school, man. Like, my baby's a senior in high school, getting ready to go off to college and shit. Which is truly a blessing. It means that if we can raise a child without killing one, you can too.
Right.
Um,
Congratulations. Congratulations, brother.
word. It's all her, really, man. But she's a wonderful child. And it's easy to make jokes about your kids, especially when it comes to relating to things. But um, my biggest fear ever is that I have a joke or a piece of my set that goes viral into some joke about my child, and my child is out in the street. You know what I'm saying? And somebody rolls up on him or her,
Right.
and starts making some kind of wild ass joke, and next thing I know, I'm steadily trying to pull my kids out of jail for beating people's asses about a dick joke. And I don't want to. And both of
Well,
them have the shortest tempers on
yeah.
earth, so the last thing I want to do is put them in any kind of situation where they look at me, and as I'm paying for the psychologist, they look at me and If you would have made me a dick joke, Dad, we've been paying for this shit. And I'm like, yeah, you're right.
Did you ever see the Twilight Zone episode, when they relaunched it and Jordan Peele did an episode, and his episode, The Comedian, and basically the gist of
Yeah,
it
I
is
thought.
the comedian was looking for, I guess, inspiration for his jokes, and then he found it around him, and he would talk about somebody, but everybody he talked about then would disappear and
Would
like not,
disappear, right?
yeah, would basically be lost or whatever. Which I thought I feel the same way. That actually spoke to me, because I feel like if I put somebody on stage, all of a sudden that's a part of my life that is no longer like private. You know what I mean? That's like like I've given it to the world as opposed to holding it to me. And I, that is where I feel like I want to be really specific about the type of jokes that I'm telling about, my son or family or whatever.
I like that's what you got from that episode, because I looked at it at that point as a superpower and was upset that I could not just disappear people. Like, I am not gonna even lie to you. I was honestly upset at myself. Like, why didn't that? Where is my fucking spider? You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I took the early COVID shots. I've been supposed to have a superpower manifest by this point. Like, I
Right.
should be flying or something shit. But yeah, when I saw that shit, my first thought was like, man, could you imagine if we really could do that shit?
Yeah.
Like, the amount of Trump jokes and Clarence Thomas jokes alone, you know what I'm saying, be straight up homicide. Like, you know what I'm saying? Them dudes would be gone within like hours if y'all just go ahead and gave us comedians this superpower. So look, while we're in this writer and acting strike, y'all always want to do reality TV. I'm talking to the 4 people watching us. Listen to me. Um, I'm gonna need you all to go ahead and lobby to give stand-up comedians superpowers, so that when y'all make us do these shows where we're not in a union, but you make us do these shows and shit, at least we get something out of it, because like we got the superpower. Think about how much better reality TV would be if you just imbued comedians with superpowers, like random open micers, just gave them superpowers and then forced them to stay in a room with 4 other comedians and like 4 other normal motherfuckers, and let's just see who
Mhm.
makes it out. Let's just
Yeah.
see who makes it out. Because the regular
Okay.
people are going to kill the comedian, like, regardless. They're going to murder the fucking comedian. They're going to, you give a comedian superpowers, that's the wrong asshole to give free reign. They won't
So,
make it.
you know what I've also thought, this is just a tangent or whatever, but you were just talking about regular people in superpower. It made me think of like the Olympics and everything, where you see them doing their special, like they're running or whatever, and
Mm.
everybody is running about the same speed, and then you got the winners, the gold medalists and all that. And my thought is you should put one regular person in each heat, so where they stand against like just a normal person. And that's the same thing with comedy, because I'll go on stage and I try to make, see, the thing is, here, I'll tell y'all a secret. Here's the thing. When I go on stage and try to do my comedy, I try to make it look very conversational, like, oh, I'm just, like it's not a joke. I'm just like talking, and
I'm
you
just
know what I mean?
talking.
But it's very practiced. That's a very practiced technique that I'm doing. It's almost like Floyd Mayweather doing the Philly
Right,
shell
right.
and all, you know what I mean? In the role, he makes it look like it's so smooth and he's not protecting himself, but he's practiced that. But when I do that, people are like, "Oh, I need to get up there, and I could do this." And I'm like, it's not necessarily the same thing. You know what I mean?
Yo,
I feel like I'm
let,
very
let
deft
this
at making it look like it's very
let this
natural,
be a
and like I just
message. Let
and
let
I
this
just
be a message.
yeah.
Let this be a message, Glenn. You should cut this out as a PSA. Let me tell all you regular people out there something, okay? Just because your friend might be funny does not mean that your ass is funny. Number one. Number two, just because your friend happens to be a stand-up comedian that you support and go see, and you might even slip him a joke or her a joke from time to time, does not make you a fucking comic. All right, like, you are not a comedian. And number three, you right there, the dude who invites people over to your house party and then figures out that you invited a comedian and you spend the whole night trying to out funny that motherfucker. I get paid for this shit. All right. So, like, like, you're not, like, quit. Don't, just all of you just stop. I know it makes me sound a little angry and possibly bitter, but I'm fine with that. Look, like, I need
I feel like that's the
need
writer strike coming out of you.
bruh, like, I hate new comedians at this stage in life the same way that old gay people hate new gay people. Okay. Like, I don't know. Like they might as well be new weed smokers to me. I don't like them niggas neither. Like all you people who waited till you were like 45 and 50 years old for weed to get legal for you to go out and start smoking and shit. I hate all of you. Just so you know, I got to be really honest. You are the reason why Delta 8 sales are scaling all over the fucking country because you went to the first gas station you could find and bought some Black and Miles, a dick pill, and some Delta 8 and was like, my weekend is set. I hate all of you. I
and
really do.
and that fried chicken that they put out there, you know what I mean? That soggy fried chicken that they put out there with it. Uh,
I
it's
miss
so
Royal
true, man.
Farms. I never thought I'd say that shit, but I really do miss Royal Farms, man. Y'all got the best convenience store chicken in the fucking country, man. Right up. Y'all need to yo, super proud of you for getting sponsored too, man. For the record, I can say that shit. Cause like when you gave me a sponsorship pitch earlier, I straight up was like, oh, here comes the Blue Chew. You even got something, you know what I'm saying? Like you ain't got nothing to do with like shaving your dick or keeping it hard as a sponsor. That's a win, brother. That is a win. And I hope more success for you. You know what I'm saying? Like
I appreciate
that's a
that.
win.
I will
That's
take
a
that,
win.
man. I'm not even going to give you my secret of how to get sponsored. I'll give it to you.
No, no, don't do that, man. I'm still salty. I damn near went bankrupt trying to do my Ashy Ankles OnlyFans page. I figured like, motherfuckers just wanted to see ankles and shit. I was wrong. It did not work. You have
Mm.
no idea how expensive it is to buy a green screen just for your ankles. Like it is a lot. I'm still trying to, get back in my wife's good graces is really
Mm.
where it is. You know what I'm saying?
Speaking about getting into good graces, you were talking about the writer strike, and
Mm.
I'm looking at all these CEOs. I feel like they need to get back in the good graces of the creators. How you holding up during the writer strike?
Again, OnlyFans. No,
It's like you can see
um,
right behind me how I'm holding
yeah,
up.
yeah. You see the couch, bro. Shit is working. You know what I'm saying? No, I am fortunate. I am okay financially. You know what I'm saying? I'm not hurt, but I'm not balling by any means whatsoever. And I am not paid, so don't rob me either, nigga. I'm okay. I am more. How do I say this? The last time there was a writer's strike and a actors guild strike, I really wasn't old enough to understand what it meant.
Right.
And we're old enough to remember the effect it had on television, but I wasn't working in entertainment. I wasn't pursuing any kind of career in entertainment, so it didn't really hit me the same way. Over the last year or so, I've been really fortunate to work with some really, really, really dope people in the industry. To be honest, whose careers I'm not gonna say I'm jealous of, but I kind of wish I had some of that shit. And they're deep enough in where all the way back in January, shit, actually before that, last summer, um, they were telling me like my career is going to change because of this writer's strike. Like the stuff
Mm.
that I've been doing, the deals that I'm negotiating, and it was multiple people. Like, they were like, yo, this shit is coming. And, cats need to be prepared. And, you hear people talk sometimes about being scared and worried about shit. But like, this was especially up here, where, there's a strong amount of people that are affected. It's not just the writers or the actors. You're also talking about the directors. You're talking about the people behind the scenes who do key grip and
Yeah.
people who do post production rolling graphics. Like you never hear or see a lot of the people who are affected by this shit. And then when you do, it changes things. I got two different homeboys. One's actually in Virginia and one's in California. They both have won respective awards in the industry. One has an Emmy, the other one has an Oscar. And to talk to them right now, man, it's tough. Like because what do you do when it dries up and it's not your fault? What do you do when you know what I'm saying? Like you got a job and you're great at your job, but all of a sudden your job just stops.
Yeah.
And you're dealing with people around you who don't understand um what a career in entertainment, one way or the other, for good or bad.
Well,
They
the
really
other
don't
thing
understand what that shit is.
the other thing that's crazy about it is so things have stopped, and then even if you want to get another job, you can't do another job in your profession. Like, even if you wanted to be like, I'm just going to work on another thing, you're kind of barred from doing that from from the guild, so you're definitely in a bind now. It's almost
Bruh,
like COVID with the lockdowns and people couldn't work or whatever, and then someone else is telling you
I'm
like,
a
and you can't work.
I'm gonna keep it to your chest, homie. Just Saturday night. What's that we went out? Yeah,
Hold on, we
Saturday
are
night.
live, by the way. We are live, by the way. So just in case.
Oh, I'm
Okay.
not tripping, man. I don't care.
Look,
What
because
they
you
gonna do?
said
Come find me?
keep it to your chest. I didn't want you to.
No, not like that. Not like that. You're right. You're right. I don't know what it is, but the older I get, I'm starting to use like phrases of speech and words absolutely incorrectly. Like I'll say things
Oh yeah.
and it'll give like a real air of seriousness, but it's fucking me. I'm not that serious.
Okay.
So
I just wanted to not. I didn't want to, put you out there that you'd be like, "Yo, this is between me
oh
and
no,
you."
you
And I'm
did
like,
right.
"Oh yeah."
You did right. You did right. You did right. I had the honor of going to the Newark Film Festival this past weekend, and um, they honored Ernest Dickerson, who is the man who created and directed Juice.
Mm,
Juice came out in '94, my senior year of high school, and I remember how
good classic.
for right and like the soundtrack alone, man, the soundtrack for Juice is. You got Noda Les, the Rakim joint. You got Uptown Anthem by Naughty on that joint. Like you got some bangers on that soundtrack and made careers. How it relates to what we're talking about here is that they were supposed to do a question and answer with the actors. Everybody who was in Juice, with the exception of Omar Epps and Tupac, respectively, was there. Like
Mhm.
all of them, and they were supposed to do this actors Q&A after the movie. And Mr. Dickerson is the one who got up and was like, "Yeah, due to the writer's strike and supporting the actor strike, we can't do a Q&A."
Wow.
And it was like, whoa, like like if you're just somebody who, let's just say, liked the movie or just was interested in the film festival and you want to come and see these actors and people talk, it's the same with Comic Con. Comic Con, they didn't do the big exhibit hall in San Diego this year because of the writer's strike and the actor strike. And that's normally where they do the big Marvel reveals and the big DC reveals and all that kind of shit. None of that shit went down this year.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And let's take it out of just this writer's strike, right? Let's say that you're a writer or an actor and your stuff is frozen up and you decide, you know what, I want to get another job. If you're watching the news, man, they're laying off people by the thousands,
Yeah.
not the hundreds, the thousands. And it's across multiple like disciplines of
Yeah.
work. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm talking about they're laying off people from bus drivers to hairdressers to corporate cats who, you know what I'm saying, are stockbrokers and shit.
Microsoft, IBM,
Come on, man.
all these places are laying off people.
Yeah, so right now, in my opinion, not only is it just hard for any of these actors and writers and people who are in the guild who are going through it, not only is it hard for them, man, but it's hard for everybody right now. Like, I really honestly feel like if anybody's out there putting pressure on somebody about a job and money and stuff like that, now is the time to kind of peel back from that shit, man. Because, like,
Yeah.
all that kind of stress and shit, it don't help nobody. And people are out there trying to, make their way, man. Help a brother, excuse me, help a brother or sister make their way. You know what I mean? But to be pressing cats right now for stuff when it's just not available for anybody. It's tough out there in general, in my opinion, right now.
Yeah. I 100% feel what you're saying, and I agree. I mean, I am not I'm not in the guild, number one.
No, neither am
But-
I. Neither am I.
okay.
I'm in neither one of them. I'm not. I'm not in the Actors Guild. I'm not in the Writers Guild. But you and I both know. Let's say, let's say somebody approaches us and gives us an opportunity from a comedian standpoint that could change the way that both of our families are living right now. Right?
Right.
We know we can't take that opportunity because when that strike comes over and we are here
Mhm.
with this television show where it's clearly going to be scripted, like there's shit that's going to be involved with it. Your ass is grass. Your career is a wrap. You're not gonna make it through. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like you're done for.
Yeah.
Um, and that's what makes it hard. Like doing stand up, even to me, is still tricky.
But
No,
stand up don't count. Let me just stand up doesn't count. I can still go out and do stand up, right?
you
That just
can't. No, you can. But there are a number of, and it's just what I've seen in the last 2 months. Um, there are a number of comedic actors who are showing up at stand-ups, open mics, gigs, you name it. And like a lot of them were comedic actors who were doing very well and basically decided to return to their core. You know what I
Mm,
mean? And you're seeing it a lot. It definitely, it's like stand-up doesn't count, but oh, it counts.
yeah,
It counts. I mean, think about it like this. They just redid Comic View.
yeah. They're starting over. Did they already
Oh
shoot that? Did they
yeah,
already?
they shot it last weekend. It was a Heartbeat weekend out in LA. They shot it if it wasn't last weekend, it was weekend before last. But the killer, or the story everybody around here was talking about, was that you had seven established, no, four established comedians, three national up and comers who were excellent. Shout out Ty Davis, excellent.
Oh, nice.
Um, yeah, I'm pretty sure Ty was on that shit. If it wasn't her, I think it was Ty. But regardless, um, Ti was the eighth comic.
Okay.
Ti was the eighth comic.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
shit, our children have more stage time than Ti. Like, don't get me wrong. I mean, he's a renowned rapper, and when he can practice whatever he has to do, I guess he's a great actor. But we all saw like what happened when Ti got on stage. So even if he's still going, it just goes to prove like even if stand up don't count, it counts. That's my
It
point. You know what
does.
I'm saying? Like, there's no way in the world, and he can come for me because I done had to run in with his ass before, so I ain't really bugging like that. I will jack your little ass up again, nigga. But the point is, ain't no reason in the world that when you got so many struggling comedians and shit out there trying to get on, they redo this thing in the first and they pull and they give Ti that shot. I don't think that's right. Like, there's
I
too
feel
many
like
other
it. I
people
feel
out
like
there.
I feel like it sullies it, especially if he's on it. I mean, but I feel like everything is kind of like that. Who elbows, rubbing shoulders, that type of thing. So, but it does kind of suck where it's like you got to put in a lot of work to get to that point. Like Ty's been doing it for how long, killing
Oh
how
yeah,
many
no, Ty's been
stages.
putting in work. Ty
You
been
know what I
putting in
mean?
work.
Like to get, and then that is a big step for that person. But then he has half of the stage time, if that, probably less. And then it's like boom, this big stage. Now I will say this. If he's putting in the work and he's doing it, like more power to you. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. I mean, I've seen videos. It looks like anybody else who just started. It doesn't, you know what I mean? Like some people, like Tracy Morgan, for example, he got like Saturday Night Live after like a couple years of doing it. But that is like in his core, that dude is funny from, you know what I mean, like Jump Street, almost effortless comedy, to say the least. And I think I'm getting my facts straight there. I read that
I
in
think
a
you're right.
book somewhere.
No, no, no,
But
no. Look, Tracy Morgan definitely jumped on the SNL, but he also had a pretty good stand-up career.
yeah,
And the buzz on that dude in New York. Like, I mean, there's a
no,
couple people on the
yeah,
show now, like, that I honestly hadn't heard of until they showed up. I thought, and I can also say because I have no idea what the rehearsal process is like, or the what do you call it, the tryout purpose. I've never had to try for anything like that, so I don't know anything about it. But when I first moved up here to Jersey, Ayo Idibiri was all over everything. She was a comics to watch. She was on the hot
mm,
comics to watch list. She was, everywhere I looked, it was something about Ayo Idibiri. And I didn't see her in a single comedy anything anywhere. I just saw that she was hot. Like, she just stopped performing in the city. Then the next time I see her, she's on the Bear. And, I'm not gonna lie, if there's ever been something that's kind of maybe inspired me a bit to keep pushing, it was watching her on the Bear, because you have to
uh,
realize that she's a comic first.
right.
She wasn't an actress first, she was a comic first, and she was killing it on some comedy shit. But the Bear, which I think is incorrectly genred as a comedy, uh, uh, shit. But she quickly became easily one of my favorite actresses in the last year. On the performance that she put in that show, and it was
Mm.
way less comedy than it was. Like, it was just well acted, well done. Yeah, you know you're wrong. Go do what you got to do and keep it moving. Hurry up! Why are you flashing a knife around like you're a ninja? Cut the damn thing and keep it moving.
Is this the
Looking over me like all confused.
is this the
I'm
kids
sorry.
right now?
Yeah, that would be my son.
He was wanting a little daddy attention. I feel like anytime we do something, it's like kids come around, it's like, oh, I got to get in between you and whatever you're doing.
Oh no, that's when they're young, like really young. No, he's at that age. Whenever he comes down now, it's strictly to eat food. He's not. No,
Oh,
they're
really?
just strictly to eat food. He literally just walked by me a second ago with a raw ass steak, and I was like, "Where are you going, with my steak? Like, why are you walking with the steak? That's mine. I don't. What do
He
you?
took your steak. Yo, listen, y'all are in the same time zone. It's damn near 10 o'clock right now. He's about to go cook a steak.
It's summer vacation, homie. All rules is out the window. Like it just. If there's ever a time of year that really kind of throws me off, normally it's summer vacation. Him and my daughter are both home. I think he goes to camp next week. My daughter's working on the weekends, but it's one of those things where, like, if you're home every day, and I don't even know if this is in his defense or it's a true explanation. I think it's a little bit of both. We have been proudly homeschooling my son since January.
Oh, how's that
So,
going?
well, he starts back into private school in September.
Okay.
I feel as though it was a good experience. When you are homeschooling a kid, you don't necessarily you could there are state mandated things that you definitely have to follow. You know what I mean? Like especially you want to keep them on the track to graduate in a certain amount of time and stuff like that.
Right.
But it's also cool because the things that we might have wanted him to be experienced and exposed to, you can't get that for the most part in a regular public school type of situation. They're not teaching the kids certain levels of Black history, hip hop history. This whole idea of being afraid to talk to kids about people being gay or lesbian, and how that might affect life and be different, and
Hmm.
not and doesn't necessarily even mean that you have to go that way. But to have that conversation is not something they're doing in schools. And then again, as a father of a young Black man, my son's confidence is important to me.
Yeah.
It is all of his self being. It is all of his self worth. And um, I find you have a lot more educators that are willing to punish our young Black men versus trying to take these moments and be educational with them. They look at a lot of these young brothers, and this is across the damn country. They look at a lot of these young brothers and sisters, I may say, as threats. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't
Right.
look at them as students; they look at them as, potential mass murderers and shit like that. Like it's amazing to me that these people who are supposed to teach and raise our children basically are scared of their children. And in my opinion, if you that scared, do like I do. Don't teach. All right? Like don't fucking do it. Like just don't teach. Like, yes, the kids are meaner. Yes, the technology fucks things up. I wish that we were still in the days when kids used to write notes and you find a note on the floor and it would be like, Mr. Johnson is a dick face. And you, Mr. Johnson, like, oh, I always hated Ricky. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And now they do this shit and they put your ass on the web for perpetuity. Like, you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like, I really feel bad. Like, some people who are teachers, people in general, but some people, especially who are teachers, aren't the most extroverted people. They're introverted people. They live very private lives. They don't, you know what I'm saying? But
It's
kids are assholes, man. And
it,
like, you
it
got kids that are putting up videos of teachers and substitutes crying, like, I broke them. Look at this, you soft ass teacher. Da 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 da.
I think it's crazy. I think it's crazy. It's just like the standards that we have now in teaching. Like I think that is
Mhm.
part of it. I feel like we have a generation of kids who are kind of like lost in terms of what they're being taught. So
I agree.
now they're like they're rebelling. And I was a substitute teacher for a while, which may
Hmm.
not sound like it's anything, but I liked it because it's like, as you know, when you're young, somebody could come into your life and say something to you one day only that like changes the trajectory of your life, that puts you on
Yeah.
a different mindset or
Yeah.
whatever. And I took that very seriously
Yeah.
as like a substitute teacher. But a couple of things that you're saying, like now there's like a whole fleet, you know what I mean, of teachers who are introverts and they're teaching the extroverted kids. And it doesn't match. You know what I mean? It's
Doesn't
like
match
my
one fucking bit.
personality
Yeah.
is out there, and what you
Yeah.
want is someone to be introverted like you, scared or antisocial or whatever like you, and you're trying to teach them that way. My favorite teachers were the ones who were extroverted, who were a little bit, you know what I mean, like outside. And it's funny because the administration would always look at those teachers like and have like a problem with them. But those are the teachers that I gravitated towards, and those are the ones who taught me the most and
Look, it's
help
funny you say
help me
that.
out.
Look, man, my favorite teachers were the mean ones. I ain't even gonna hold you. My favorite teachers were every mean ass, just everybody else hated her teacher. My favorite. Still talk to him, and I'm well out of school. Like I, first of all, I blame No Child Left Behind. If we got to get real smart about things for a second, I saw it is a blurred is his little code thingy there.
Yeah.
So that means that I'm allowed to be black and smart. Um, yeah, I blame No Child Left Behind, and then I also um, blame my generation in general. We
Mm.
fucked this up for future generations,
Yep.
because we were the last generation to have like critical thinking and those kind of things were important in high school. And then as we, as a generation of children, started to manifest through school and matriculate through life, all of our parents in unison was like, "Oh, we fucked this up. No, no, no.
Mm.
All these little free thinking motherfuckers here, we gonna solve that. Like,
Yeah.
they don't need
Well,
any more of these free thinking niggas.
yeah.
This ain't gonna
I
work."
I will tell you, I want you need to listen to, and I'm gonna put up a link to it.
Mm,
I'm gonna put up a link to it. There's a podcast. It's called Soul to Story.
mm,
And I'm gonna put up a hold on. Let me see if I could get. Look, I got people who work with me. I'm gonna put up this link here. Go ahead and toss that link onto the screen there. But
nice.
there's a podcast that actually talks about the problem with kids in school, and one of the big problems is how they're teaching reading. I don't know how do they teach your kid reading?
Man, that is so. I,
But
mm, I, mm,
here's the thing. Here's the thing I'm gonna tell you.
mm,
You said I blame No Child Left Behind,
mm.
and like this will be controversial to say, but the way they're teaching reading now, No Child Left Behind was trying to actually correct and fix, because what they're teaching now is just remember words and like say those words. So you get a lot of kids who can like
Actually,
basically remember a book or whatever, but they can't actually read. They can just like pick out words, guess words or whatever, and
what
they
you're
got rid
saying
of
is
the
directly
phonics.
related. Directly related to what they were talking about doing with No Child Left Behind. Their issue back in the day was the fact that they felt that reading programs were too intense. They felt like phonics programs were making it too hard and
Yeah.
challenging for kids. And I remember this shit because I was a speech major in college, and they talked about communication as a major across most colleges. They were trying to fade away communications majors and force you into journalism.
Yeah.
It was either journalism or business communication. But the idea of understanding how people talked and read and learned as individuals from an interpersonal standpoint, No Child Left Behind was definitely trying to get the fuck away from that shit. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like way from that shit. And now it actually has. Like it's one of the things that probably ticked me off the most. Not just with my son, but with my daughter, both my children, watching them trying to, learn how to read um through public schools. And like I understand the importance of having a tactile book in your hand. It is important when you're learning how to read. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't care if it's
Right.
big words on every page, but having that book in your hand while you flip the pages, in my opinion, it does something to help to stimulate the learning process of getting the idea of this is really what a book is. Versus now, when they have books to read, normally they send them the digital versions on the tablet, right?
Mm.
So with the visual digital version being on the tablet, you gain and lose something at the same time. You gain something that helps the earth because it's not another book being printed. I get that. But what you lose is the ability to teach a child how to sound out the words and how to read, because what we as adults think is, oh, if they have problems, they can just turn it on and let the book talk to them. What
Mm,
the kids think is, oh shit, this is a way to get out of reading. I'm in.
yeah.
And that is the flip consequence of this shit. Like they don't like they don't and it's really not even their fault in general. It's kind of the way that people are socialized in math right now. But you the kids now don't necessarily see the point of sitting down and reading a book when I can put it in my iPod and listen to
And
the
listen
book and
to
let
it.
somebody read it for me. And yeah, they'll get the point of the book, hopefully.
Yeah.
Um, but on the same tip, they don't see the point in taking the time to read something when they can just get it
Yeah.
like that, and
See,
it, and
that's
it affects you as a reader, in my
That's
opinion.
another point to this whole thing. Like it switched to like kind of a digital way of learning. And like there was a switch in them not trying to teach phonics and not trying to sound out words. And in my mind, when you're trying to look at something and decipher how it is sound or what it means or and put it together, that is helping you a lot further along the way, as opposed to
Yeah.
what they instituted was like trying to remember and recall and guess from context clues and all that type of stuff, like what this word says. And then they would take that as like reading. But what they figured out was like kids who all like in one grade were able to read something, then they go to the next grade and they can't read anything because they were guessing, or they're just guessing things like
Oh,
really,
that
really
one,
wrong.
that's yeah.
But
And they guess with confidence too. Like they're
yeah,
taught to guess with confidence. Like you're totally wrong, but you're
but
taught to guess at it like you know what you're talking about.
yeah. And they
And I
get a
see
lot
that
of
a lot
words
more.
that are close. They'll get them like mixed up, like they'll say irresponsible with irreplaceable because they're
Yeah.
very, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
similar or whatever. And that was
Yeah.
something that was changed a long time ago. And but this is why I brought up the whole soldier story. That do you have 2 minutes? Wait, I think we
Yeah.
should I'm gonna play this. How about I play this trailer for it? I wonder if this will be this is hold on. Yeah, this is gonna let's pop this up,
Yeah.
share
Good
it.
work.
Do look, I'm trying to be fancy now. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not mad at you. Be fancy, brother. Be
I'm
fancy.
trying to be fancy, bro. Hold on.
Be
Let's
fancy.
look at this. Let me share
Oh,
this. Look at that.
this is
Boom.
Emily. Emily Hanford. I know Emily Hanford.
Yeah,
She's good peoples.
yeah. Listen to this trailer. Hold on.
I'm Emily Hanford.
There
I'm
we
a
go.
reporter. A few years ago, I did a story that sparked a response like nothing I'd ever experienced. The story was about how a lot of schools aren't teaching children how to read.
It didn't seem like they were really teaching them to read. It seemed like they were teaching them to sound like they could read.
I said to my son's teacher, I was like, this isn't how we learned how to read, like meaning me and her. Like, this can't be right?
Schools around the country use methods and materials that are based on a theory about how children learn to read that was debunked years ago by cognitive scientists. The theory is this: children don't need to learn how to sound out words because they're figure out what the words say.
We're going to see if the picture helps us to figure out what that word would be.
You could tell
I'm
them
hearing these debates.
this litter, and it'll pop out of your
Remember
head if
hearing
you're
these
looking at the
debates? Like
picture
I
as well.
remember
You get
sitting in the
reports of
room
children who finally do
listening to
succeed at
people tell
reading
me,
with this kind
man,
of one hand.
there's a brother by the name of Les Brown. And there's another person I don't mind calling out because it's true. But Les Brown is a motivational speaker, and to certain black folks, he's damn near royalty, right?
Yeah.
And it was 99. I was at a retreat in Palm Springs, and they call in Les Brown to speak. And this grown ass black man stands in front of a whole other room of educated black people and tells them, yeah, I go in front of all these corporate people, and the first thing I say is SDK. Anybody know what SDK is? Everybody guesses around the room. Everybody's drinking all these great Pan African type answers.
Right.
You said no. SDK stands for spelling don't count.
Oh wow.
And he was like, so if I write something on the board and I misspell it, or if I write a word up there and and it doesn't come off the way that people think it should come off, man, I don't want y'all getting caught up in my spelling. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't necessarily need to understand You think when they wrote the Constitution, they ran a spell check? They've been running the country for 200 years. I was like, yeah, but they were also ignorant fucks. Like, so don't like. So all that to say, when he said that, I really was aghast. I was blown. I really didn't even know how to even respond to something like that. But here we are, some almost 20 something years later, and that's the norm. Like even if you watch like, and your kids are still young, so you still have a lot of hope. And you're such a positive person, Glenn, because you're the only nigga I've ever met my entire life that was like, I like substitute teaching. It was a way to give light to the kid. Fuck substitute teaching. But you're such a positive dude,
I liked
man.
it. It was a good time.
Positive guy. You must have been with a lot of white kids. Look, the point is,
I had a grandmother who was very, very. She was very, very loving, and I was taken care of emotionally. So that's what helped me. You know what I mean? Have all this like happiness and joy. I was hugged.
Positivity.
I was hugged a lot as a kid.
Yeah, you were hugged a hell of a lot, bro. Look, yeah, substitute teaching is a no-go. Like, but that's not the point. The point is, when I graduated from high school in 1994, the talk at the time was that public schools are failing people, and we need to switch up the way that we're educating these people in every facet and form available. And it was weird to me because when I went to college with my public school education, even though it was Fairfax County, I was over prepared. In fact, everybody I knew that came from public school was over prepared. Like I was turning in papers that I wrote as a junior in high school, as a junior in college, and they were good. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't that, I just had something laying around. I just had to put a piece here, put a piece there. No, I literally called my parents, send me the computer, I'm printing the paper. Like, it's just that simple.
Right.
Like, why am I, and we were way over prepared. I was very prepared to go off to college and to understand what I was stepping into and all that kind of stuff. And I think through the kids who went to charter schools in the early times, because for real, charter schools was really just a way for them to blaze more money into athletics. Because if you really look at high school, there's a grip of charter schools, especially up and down the East Coast, that you would promise I've never ever heard of. But they were schools that were created because they found a 7'8" Nigerian somewhere who could play basketball, and they needed to put other people around them. Like there's a lot of schools that are like literally have an enrollment of 20 people, and 12 of the people at the school are athletes. You know what I mean?
Right.
And, like, well, these guys, they needed public choice. They couldn't just go to a public school. They needed a private school so you can get money off the shoe contracts. So you can get money off of like taking these kids to national tournaments, getting them exposure while these kids can't fucking, pay for ramen noodles and shit. So they took the hustle away from the college people and broke it down to high school. You know what I'm saying? Like, in fact, it's crazy. There's a league, Ralph, that is not going to work. I'm clearly on this joint. No. So it means you can't watch TV and eat. You can eat, but you can't watch TV right now. And no, you can't go up to your room, just eat your food and then, go on up. You all right?
Tell them we're talking about reading. Read a book. Grab a book.
Hold on a second. I'm sorry, what, baby? Okay, well, look, go up in your room, eat your food, and then bring it back down. Don't get up there, start watching TV, go to sleep, and leave the plate. Eat, bring the food back down. Bring the plate back down.
So I'm talking about parenting. That's what we do on the Blurred Dad podcast. We parent. We get out here. You know what I'm saying? We put the in hole and we need to parent. That's what we do. We make sure that the parenting is taken care of. That's job number one.
I'm not even gonna talk about that job.
But
no,
yeah,
man.
To continue the conversation you were saying.
I learned when I was teaching, right? And I know how to pull it back. When I was teaching, when I was first approached with the idea of teaching, I told the dude no, because my mother was a teacher. And she took being a teacher and education very serious. You know what I mean? She looked at it as a privilege to teach kids and, for kids to learn under her. Like that was the way it was. And she went to school for all that shit. And the dudes approached me about being a teacher because they knew I needed a job. It's not the same thing. And I remember um, the English teacher, the senior English teacher, was right across the hall from me. And it was towards the end of the school year, and she asked me to administer one of the AP tests so she could go run an errand or something like that. Okay, I don't mind. Sure, I took AP. I know what it's like. I know what to do. I can proctor an exam. Sure, man. I went in. It was maybe 9 kids in this AP class, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
An AP exam normally is about 2.5 hours. You know what I'm saying? About 30 minutes in, this kid just kirks. I can't do it. I don't understand this shit. I don't, but you know what, Mr. Cooper wrote his name on a blue book, put a piece of tape on it, and walked out. When he did that, all the other kids followed. Like it was like dominoes. Like I don't think anybody stayed in there and really tried to take that exam. Like they all just bounced. Like it's too much. And
they all left.
they all left. Like it was like like bro, I'm trying to tell you, like if there was 5 minutes in between each kid leaving, I'm saying too much. Like they literally just got up. Like I guess the smartest guy in the room got up and was like, "Oh no!" And then the rest of them were like, "Well, shit, if he's scared, fuck this," and they bounced.
Can't do it. They just all.
And I'm like, you've been in AP English your whole fucking year. This is the whole year of class. The whole point of being in AP is to get ready for this fucking exam. Like that's the whole point of being in a class. But you gonna tell me that you are willing to say fuck this exam 30 minutes in? Like, but as a real nerd,
That's hilarious.
that was disrespectful. Like that's the thing, man. And I'm sure we can find another way to talk about it, but that's the other real problem I got with education right now, man. Like, nerd is a culture. Nerd is a lifestyle now. Like, it is a thing. It was not a thing for me. I was just a nerd, all right?
So
like,
true.
We were nerds. Like,
So
we
true.
got made fun of, and, like, people talk shit about us. And even if we said that we were nerds and we were happy about it, you weren't happy about being a nerd in front of thousands of people. It was like you and the other 3-ass nerdy motherfuckers was like, bad handshakes go. Like, you know what I mean? Like
you had to hide it. You couldn't just be outwardly nerdy.
like that.
Now look, I got a whole podcast talking about being a nerd. You know what I mean? Like it's it wasn't as celebrated as it is today.
Like and cats are revising, and I'll say this and I'll shut up. Like cats are revising history, man. And it really annoys me. Cats are revising history because now everybody's a Tribe Called Quest fan. Everybody's a Common Sense fan. Let me let you know something. When Common dropped, "Can I borrow $1?" I got clowned.
You listening to what?
What is that bullshit? In fact, I remember Common Sense's "Can I borrow $1?" came out on the same day as Redman's "What the Album." I got clowned. What? Man, why you listen to that nerdy ass shit? Tribe Called Quest. You listen to Tribe Called Quest and De La Soul when I was in high school. You were a weird nigga. All right, like you was a weird nigga. Like there was almost like the silent bond between the weird niggas was a Tribe Called Quest, Jungle Brothers. You know what I'm saying? And Leaders of the
Development wasn't that another one?
No. Now look, I'll say this too. Now, Arrested Development, you was just a weird motherfucker. Like I just, you was weird.
Still,
to
yeah,
the nerd niggas.
They can't get
Nah, bro. And my man was the DJ for them niggas. No. If you were in the Arrested Development,
I am still thirsty.
they were still thirsty too, nigga. That nigga's speech is thirsty as fuck. He's thirsty, nigga. Fucking No, nigga, Arrested Development was too weird for the nerdy niggas. Like, it was too weird for the Flower Daisy niggas. I was up to Flower Daisy, De La Soul ass nigga, and I was looking at Arrested Development down my nose like,
listen, this is why people did not know I like that until right now. I have not let that go into this moment.
Let me find out you just came out for being an Arrested Development fan.
I thought a game of horseshoes. That was
one hit wonder. One of the worst debut albums that goes on to win a Grammy I've ever heard. I will argue that the Fresh Prince's Parents Just Don't Understand, which won the very first hip hop Grammy, was better than Arrested Development's entire album, Like it was so bad. That was such
I ain't gonna lie.
oh,
I like Will Smith too. I like that too. I like
I
that.
fucks with Will. I fucks with early Will. Hey, look, man, whether he slapped that motherfucker or not, man, I'm still fucking with Will, bro.
Yeah.
I don't care what nobody says. I'm down for Will Smith, man.
Hey,
I mess with Will, man.
Listen, I feel like that one was loaded in the chamber. And you know, here's like I didn't know how to feel about it. I didn't know how I feel about it when I was watching it. But you know when I made a decision was when Samuel L. Jackson backstage came up to Will and he gave him the old OG dap. Like, yeah, my nigga, you had to do. He gave him. He was like, "That's right, he's earned it." I was like, "Oh, okay." Samuel L. Jackson knew what it was.
I just like to point out the fact that Samuel L. Jackson went to Morehouse College, much like I did, which again let me know that the way I was thinking about this shit was right. I'm not. I'll say this quick, and it is just easy, dirty. Look, we all, the world, had to witness the nigger moment. It is what happened. All right. And everybody wanted to break it down to like Chris Rock, and he's got an esteemed comedian career, and Will Smith's just a multidisciplinarian. And then there's Jada Pinkett. No. What you saw was a nigger from Brooklyn talking shit to a nigger from Philly about his chick from Baltimore. If you've never needed three places not to fucking mix in a public place, Baltimore, Philadelphia, and fucking Brooklyn. All right.
Yeah.
So at that point, everybody else in the room didn't even fucking matter.
Yeah.
Why are we here?
No, you know what it is. Here's what I said. That night. I said, I think everybody acted accordingly. Like Chris Rock, you're supposed to be hosting, you're supposed to be roasting people. Fine. Wilson, he talked about your wife. You had to get up there and do it. Everybody and then to not react, I was like, you know what? Everybody acted accordingly. Like
everybody did right.
Like he didn't haul off and try to punch. He slapped him with a wide open hand slap that he telegraphed.
Hell of a sweep too. The arc was just amazing. Like it came
and the follow through. He gave us all a meme. I think everybody acted accordingly, and we got what we needed from the situation. That's what I think. I didn't think anybody acted out of place. I thought everybody.
I really don't disagree.
You know why? He went and sat back down, straightened up his tie, and the night continued on. If anything was wrong, the whole night would have been ruined. Everybody would have been out of their seats, their security run. No, everybody acted accordingly.
The whole night would have been ruined. Went back
and started hosting.
The whole thing would have been ruined if it would have broken down into like a different world, Cosby Show, kind of a battle royal situation with white people choosing Hillman saved their lives, and then the older people talking about save Bill Cosby. And they would have turned to a fight off of that. Ruined.
And then Black Aunt Viv comes from the top rope, you know what I'm saying? To bring it back, and you don't know what side she's gonna be on.
Look, Black Aunt Viv not only comes from the top rope, but she goes straight after light skin Aunt Viv. It's what we all want.
They should have turned it into a WWE match. You know what I'm saying? We would have been good. You know, and it would have been Oscar So Black. You know what I mean?
I would have totally been Oscars Black and Blue in this bitch. I'd have supported it. I'm all for it.
I thought it was funny because that was when they were like, there was the whole Oscar So White, and they're like, all right. And then the first thing that happens is
and then the first thing that happened is Chris Rock and Will Smith taking the Real Housewives.
Yes. Hey, look.
You know what made me solid on the affair? It was fucking awesome. What made me solid on the affair, what gave me perspective and clarity on the affair, Marlon Wayans' stand-up special that he did.
Yo, that was one of the best takes on it. Best takes on it, period.
Yo, that dude, when he talked about the fact that he quit stand-up because he was so afraid of Chris Rock heckling him, I felt that shit in my chest. I was like, God damn. Like you're a weigh-in. Your whole family just crushes people for the hell of it. Y'all crush each other for the hell of it. And you mean to tell me that you had Damon, Marlon, and all these other cats in the house? I mean, not Marlon, you know what I mean? Damon, the older brother,
Keenan.
Sean Keenan. You had your sister. You know his sister can go. You had all those people in the house. You watched all those people do stand-up. You got all those points. Your son, you watch your nephew, young Damon Wayans, who I think is still a great stand-up comedian. You watch all these guys. But it was Chris Rock that scared you off the pipe.
Hey,
that's crazy, man.
But Chris Rock was like, there's a lot of energy there. And rumor has it, I don't know, I'm not in the circles, I don't get invited to the parties, but you know,
me neither.
It is what it is. But Chris Rock, he he definitely was like going back and forth with Jada, and like there was like some history there that made it a little funny. I will say this though. I will say this.
Yeah.
Like I watched Chris Rock's special, and I wanted him to give it some more oomph. I wanted some more oomph when he came at him. I can't fault him because it was live, but I wanted some more oomph.
And like you said before about the Oscars, everybody did what they were supposed to do. That's the way I feel about Chris's special. If you watched Chris's special from a technical standpoint, he did a classic stand-up set. He knew the most important thing that everybody wanted him to talk about was that he knew to hold it till the end.
Yeah.
He knew it. Like, and to me, that's the real jewel. That's the real dope thing about his special. Like, hypothetically speaking, I get caught in a sex tape and they got pictures of me at Wawa with my dick out, right? If the next time that I'm supposed to speak in public, everybody's going to expect me to address being in Wawa with my dick out. But what he did instead was, you know what? We're going to talk about my dick being out, but I've got these jokes.
Right.
I've got to get this shit off. Let me get this shit off, and then I'll give you all what you want at the end. And for me, for that, it was good. I didn't think that he was going to really go hard into the whole. Like I didn't think he was going to go really hard at Will. He said what needed to be said the right way it needed to be said from a place that you could understand as a person where he was coming from. But with today's culture and society, I am fully convinced that if he would have done that special and just spent a full 30 minutes ripping on fucking Will Smith, somebody inadvertently who ain't got nothing at all to do with the process would have gotten shot and or killed, calling themselves protecting the name of one of these two motherfuckers, because that's how people are nowadays. Like,
it is. That is. I think he did take the temperature down because everybody wanted to hear what the comeback was going to be, and there definitely could be some fuel thrown onto that fire. But
there was a stand-up class I took in New York with a great guy by the name of Bernie Firstpan. And what Bernie said to me, I feel applied not just to comedy, but the rest of life. He said, nobody wants to watch the legislation, but everybody comes to the execution.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like everybody wants to see the bloodbath, but nobody wants to see, the dudes in there arguing about whether the death penalty is right or wrong. Like,
yeah,
there's this picture that I'm definitely not going to pull up, but it shows the last public execution in the United States. And you would have thought it was a Mayweather fight, bruh. Like the way that people were dressed, there was all kind of pomp and circumstance. All of the high level people in society are there. Like you see them, like, you know what I'm saying? And then they're all around a fucking hangman, like a gallows. They're all around a gallows waiting for this black dude who basically was the wrong cat anyway, getting hung. But like it was supposed to be the last hanging, the last public execution in America. And when you look at the pictures, it's appalling. You know what I mean? Because like we don't, as a country, and it's just the truth, man. Like, we everybody wants to see. We are turning closer and closer into the movies that we grew up watching than we really want to admit. Like we're literally living in Idiocracy 2, number one. That's that. If you've never seen Idiocracy, please go see that movie, and it'll explain where we are as a country and a people right now. But then another movie that I think kind of explains culture and where we're headed that people don't really give credit for, in my opinion, is Running Man. The Running Man.
Yeah.
We are a writers and actors strike away from watching shows on television where people compete for their fucking life. You watch what I'm telling you. And it's not going to be something that comes on NBC or Fox or any of your normal ones. Nah, man, it's going to come from some weird streaming channel where they're going to make $1 million off of somebody, in the most heinous and gross way. You watch. I'm telling you, it's coming. It's coming. And I don't want to see it. But like, if the old school theory was that when you watch movies to a certain extent, they were trying, and television shows, they were trying to groom you to be acceptable so that when certain things happen, you don't kirk out, right? Like,
Mhm.
for years there was alien movies showing the aliens coming from outer space so that when the aliens actually did come here, you're supposed to be like, oh, they're aliens. I know how to deal with this. I saw Independence Day. Um, but
Listen, it's funny that you said that because this is the part of the show where I wanted to talk about something that I've been nerding out on recently. Usually I ask, what the guest has been nerding out, but I've been nerding out on this trailer and this movie right quick. And I don't know, I really think it's interesting. So I want to get your take on it. Hold on, let me pull this up here and see what you think about this.
Mm.
You ready?
Yeah.
Boom.
When the war started, they protected me. Took better care of me than humans would have.
They're not people, Maya. It's just programming.
Wow.
So today, the artificial intelligence created to protect us detonated a nuclear warhead in Los Angeles. This is a fight for our very existence.
Sergeant Taylor, we are this close to winning the war.
You already know anything with Morehouse niggas in it, I'm watching, so I'm already in.
Right?
Retrieve it.
Famous alumni outside of Sam Jackson.
I like what they're doing with the music right now too.
Yeah, this is dope.
Did you locate the weapon? Yeah, it's just a kid.
Are you going to heaven?
No. You gotta be a good person to go to heaven.
So we're the same. We can't go to heaven because you're not good. And I'm not a person.
Oh, wow.
That's
Do you know what I'm gonna do with the thing is?
She looks like a little girl now, but she's growing. Whoever has that kid wins the war.
Whose side do you want, huh?
What do
Yeah.
you want, sweetie?
For robots to be free.
Oh, we don't have that in the fridge. How about ice cream?
Wow. I didn't even have any idea this was coming out. This is fire.
I know, right?
Yeah, bruh. Yeah, all right. Support that. Yeah, I totally watched that. Yeah, I'm in.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I ain't got
So
nothing to say bad about that. But I didn't even know that was
I'm all
coming out.
about it.
Site traffic is
All right, shut up now,
That's it.
Steven.
You're good. No, that's
September
it.
29th is when that's coming out. So I don't know. I'm kind of excited. Here's the thing. You were just talking about movies and how they're preparing us for stuff. And of course, with the writer's strike, all eyes are kind of on AI and how it's going to disrupt things. And I think that's one of these things that I don't think people have really given credence to, is like how many jobs and people are going to be displaced because of this AI thing, and where it goes, where it eventually goes to.
Nerd to nerd.
Yeah.
Okay? Nerd to nerd. You and I can talk AI because we fully understand what AI is. Okay? For me, right now, AI is catching an ass whipping because there are more people who know what CRT is versus fucking AI, and people still don't know what the fucking CRT is. Like,
right.
When you talk about AI being able to take somebody's job, when you talk about AI being able to do things for us that we wouldn't be doing ourselves, all you got to realize is whether AI really exists or not, that shit's already happening.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's not in the form of a computer. It's in the form of badly paid people who are migrants to this country who will take anything just so they can feed their fucking kids. Like, that's what AI really is. Like, if you want to talking to me about AI taking those kind of people's jobs, and I'm all for it. Like, that's that. But these fucking execs and other people who are way up in the chain talking all this AI shit, it's just a bunch of scared old people, bro. And I say that with all personal. Like, it's just scared as fuck. I don't see AI is only going to go as well as it's programmed. AI only does as well as it's prompted. So, like, if you're not prompting AI won't take your job unless you say, "Hey, AI, prompt, take my job." And now the AI will be like, "Okay, well, what is your job?" And you can say, "My job is scratching my balls." And your AI will say, "Well, here are the 18 great ways to scratch your nuts." All right. But like, it can't do them. Like, you can't, you know what I mean? Like, it can't do that shit. Anything AI has to do has to be prompted. So when I see movies like this, which is to me really talking about a high level, far off scientific concept, the idea of sentient AI life, the idea of a true ghost in the shell, because that's what all of these movies are. Every single one of these movies now, we just have the technology where you can have a fully animatronic robot that looks like it can climb and scale a building with a Boston Robotics dog and kill you. All of this shit comes from Ghost in the Shell. The idea that an AI becomes sentient and can think on its own, and now wants to be treated as a living, a living, breathing being. That's the AI that everybody fears. The AI that you can't do anything about. It's almost like, oh God, why can't I think of the name of the show? But there was a show where basically people were having their souls digitized before their physical body died.
Was that on Infinite? Was that with Mark Wahlberg? Was that?
No. This was because it was supposed to be. Thank you. That's it. Because the shorty on Upload.
As a nerd, I'm gonna figure out. I'm gonna have it in my Rolodex.
I support that. That's good. No nerd Rolodexy right there. You need a little chime for that whenever that shit happens.
You know what? I do need some sound effects.
Word up. But the upload to me took on what I thought and still think is a very controversial topic, and they threw a lot of humor at it, because the reality is, if you're throwing humans and their souls into AI, right, or into a digital world so that you can exist in perpetuity, humans are the ultimate unprogrammable being. So when you take something that's unprogrammable and throw it into something that only works in a construct, the construct will break. Like, if you take the human brain right now in its free-flowing form and just throw it into the computer and say, go, it's not going to do what you think it's going to do. It's going to go left. It's going to go right. It's not going to go in the direction. And computers, because computers are built on instructions, in theory, at least in my mind, the computer would break. Like, it's not going to work. Like, if you try and put a human soul digitized into a computer so that you can talk to them and keep them there forever and shit, well, that person is going to try and live on digitally. They'll fuck around and be hundreds of years old.
I mean, but the thing with AI is, I feel like I don't think human can grasp exponential. Like, we don't have a concept of exponential growth. Like, you saw
No, we don't. You're right. I agree with
Oppenheimer's about to come out, and when they were building that bomb and trying to figure it out, they actually did not know what was going to happen, and it let off an explosion that was way bigger than they thought. In our minds, we can't grasp exponential, and this is the thing that's going to happen is
you mean a quantum exponential thought, or that kind of that theory of thinking. I agree with
this is the thing about AI now, is all about, it's just a language model, and it needs prompts or whatever. But there will come a point, because now it's able to program and code and all this other stuff. There will come a point, hopefully we're prepared for, where there is a switch to where it can like replicate itself and improve upon itself. And at that point, it's out of our hands. Once it starts learning on its own, like you said, it needs a prompt. Once it stops needing a prompt, and it can do things on its own, that's the point where things start happening. But once it gets to that point, I don't think we're going to be worrying about losing jobs, because you know what I mean? Like,
right.
we got to stop
Okay.
losing existence. But in the meantime, I think the people who learn how to use it are the ones who are going to be keeping it, and then the people who are doing things that are very simple, and even certain things that are like media, like construction and whatnot, you might start seeing jobs lost to that, because when they build robots that can actually build and do things that that are safer at a fraction of the cost, it's just a minor maintenance or whatever, we'll see a lot of those people out of work, and then we're going to have to figure out what to do with them and what happens. So the
That
thing
goes
that I
all the
like
way
about
back.
AI,
That
I was
goes-
actually
that
talking
goes-
to somebody. I was talking to somebody who actually does a lot of this programming and works with like the big brains and shit. And he was saying the thing that AI can't do right now is the shit that we do, go on stage and be funny. So I'm like, damn, I'm still safe. I'm in there like swimwear.
I'm safe as fuck. I'm good. I'm really good. But the other part of what you also just brilliantly said, the technology, even though it's moving quicker than it's ever moved in any of our lives, our generation's lives, really, like the technology, I feel like every other day they create some brand new shit. Like I just found this thing the other day. A sister invented it. It's called Billow. It allows you to smoke in your house without any extra smoke escaping and shit. Like it all goes in this one contraption. And I was like, man, like how far have we come from like putting a towel under the door and smoking in your bathroom to now we got this contraption is sleek, it's out of the way, it takes all the smoke out, there's no wasted smoke. I'm just like, man, like the technology is moving so quickly, but on the same tip, I don't see us developing computers to do construction, mainly because there's a group of humans who know what true digital automation does to a job market. And if nobody wants to believe me on that, go talk to your friends in Michigan. Go talk to your friends in who live in Detroit or who live outside of Ann Arbor. You know what I'm saying? Whose parents, raised them and paid for college and all that shit, getting overtime working at the plants. But now all the plants are automated. The cars are literally built by fucking computers, and you've got 100,000 or more people like whose whole life and existence was working in them factories and putting the cars
Wow.
together. It's where
Wow.
mechanics came from. People who worked on the engines and shit would leave the damn factories and go open garages and stuff to work on the cars that they built and put together. But now, like, even
You hear that?
that was scary. Yeah, that was, I don't know what that was. That
Oh,
was
that
scary.
was that was a wow. It said
That was a little high pitched. It kind of scared me. But all right, we'll go with it. Wow.
I was,
All right.
I didn't know it was
You,
going
you,
to be that high. It was
you
just,
need
he
to go
said I
ahead and get
needed
a funk
a
flex
sound
bomb
effect,
too.
so I tried to throw it in there.
Get that funk flex bomb going boom. Like you just boom. I like that. That's my favorite sound effect. Just boom. Or air horn. I like that one too. I don't know what that one was. That sounded like a hurt elephant. I'm not too sure. That was an elephant that really just stepped on some painful shit. It was not happy.
Oh damn, that did not. Okay, well shit. I thought that was going to be good.
Another one.
Okay, there we go.
Khaled still. But yeah, man. It's how do I say this? A lot of this stuff, like when you start talking some of this stuff, and it's kind of the weird, I guess, drawback sometimes of being a nerd. Because when you're a nerd and you really kind of understand some of the concepts and things that people are trying to do, I feel like the only mood you can walk away with is dystopian. Like the whole world's going to hell. Like everything's going bad. And I would like to try and adopt more of a positive outlook and a hope that, and I knowingly could probably be wrong too, but I like the hope that, in the near future that it would be, um, a more, um, true nature of man of one, true, like just the idea of people not giving up on people.
That is the big. I think that's the big takeaway. Like people not giving up on people. That is to circle back to what we were talking about at the very beginning with like the writer strike and everything. It's like as much as these CEOs for whatever reason they need to hoard or keep all this money. Like, let's not forget about people, man. Like people
Yeah.
help you be the multimillionaire that you are. You're still going to be a multimillionaire if you help all these people out. And I feel like sometimes they feel like there's floodgates that are going to open, but if people can understand that they're like, I definitely think that we need to understand that, and that goes for like a lot of facets in life. Like, you got this fucking war going on. You got these other places that are war torn. Here in America, everybody's at each other's throats. I feel like we definitely need to understand that whole, like, people helping and loving each other is what is going to carry the day and what is going to carry us forward and get us to a place of understanding and prosperity and happiness,
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
and hopefully that is something that can be programmed into the AI, and that'll that'll help us. That'll help.
I'm with you. Let's see this, 'cause I think we're almost near the end here.
Yeah.
I a while ago, before I was ever married or whatever, I had something go down that happened to me up in New York where uh I came up for a show, my car got towed. I was naive. I didn't necessarily understand registration and stuff like that. So my car still had California tags. So it got towed in New York with expired California tags, which means that I had to go back down to the Virginia DMV, ghost register my car, get back on a bus or a plane, come up to New York, go to Port Authority, put the plates on my car, pay for the storage fee, get my car, and go the fuck home. And friends, people that I didn't know. And this is before really the internet kind of like was blown anyway. I was telling anybody who would listen to me, I was hurt. I didn't have the money, none of that shit, man. And it was people that I didn't know. Friends of mine who I've known for years who all kind of came together and helped me get the money together to get my car out, gave me a plane ticket because their mom worked in the airline industry. Put me up in a hotel because they were a concierge at a hotel and had comp nights, and they put me up. And it was the only way that I could, get my car and come back out. And I remember writing myself a note that said, never, ever give up on the true good nature of your fellow human being. Because I think we all, as people, you got some people who really work from a management perspective of they're just used to people letting them down.
Yeah.
And so they're harder on people. They don't give people the credit to possibly be able to do whatever it is you might have assigned them to do. And my thing is always going to be, instead of, looking at people in situations and worrying, expecting the worst, man, give people grace, man. Like, give people grace, because we all want grace and we just don't get it. You know what I'm
That's true.
saying? So, like, for real, to me, that's the real key of everything, man. Like, give people grace instead of taking, and I have to keep repeating this shit to myself. Like, instead of thinking that, somebody owes you money, taking the shit personal without thinking about, for example, what might be going on the other end for them to get you said money. Like, once you get in an emergency about certain things and stuff, all walls come crashing down and you just feel like, I've got to do this, or, but, normally when you even have that worst feeling, you wake up the next morning, man, and nothing fucking happens. You know what I'm saying? You still owe the same people that you owe the day before. And even if, unfortunately, you're in a situation where somebody might physically retaliate because you owe them money. I mean, after they beaten you or broken your arm or your leg and shit, the day still goes on, man. You ain't dead. You know what I'm saying? So, oh no, I really kind of look at it, man. Like, if there's one thing that we all could really do, especially when you're talking this shit with whether it's the writer strike, the actor strike, AI, whatever it is, as humans, man, the best thing we can do is give each other grace, man. Like, I think it's something that we have all really lost, just in general. Like, man, giving your fellow man grace, like, trying to pick somebody up, versus tearing them down when they're already down there, and not just using that kind of shit as a catchphrase, because that's the other thing. Like, man, every time I see somebody on TV talk about, man, lead with love, and shut the fuck up.
Are you
already
doing
know.
it? Are you
Are you
leading with
doing it?
love?
Because I don't think you're doing it, sir. I'm pretty sure you're not leading with love, sir. I'm pretty sure you're not. So, but I think, when we as regular people can do those things, especially like with kids, especially, because to me with the kids, that's That's the jail, man. Like I want my children to be able to not just, show grace to a common man out there in the streets, but teach them to show grace themselves, man. Show grace to yourself. Give
Yeah.
yourself, you know what I'm saying? Like, stop being so hard on yourself and taking messages so hard. Like, sometimes the message may sound and feel hard, but you might have to take the emotion out of it to understand that somebody's trying to tell you something where they care about you, and they wouldn't say that shit if they didn't. So, it's a different. It's. I feel as though the advent of digital shit has made the world a bit harder, when the idea was that it was going to make things a bit easier.
Yeah.
I
I think it took the burden off us in terms of like being able to survive, but then it did not, we forgot to also to stay connected to one another.
I agree.
We forewent the analog in favor of the digital, forgetting that the analog is what connects things.
I hate the fact that I know when I say certain things that I know I sound like the old 1950s dude, who normally is a Trump supporter and wants racism to come back. But I really wish, in a certain respect, that we still had house phones. I still wish that people had to call each other on the house phone versus the cell phone, because I feel like it's killed things on so many levels, but most importantly, just how to interact with somebody on a basic level that you can't see. Being able to, have to call somebody and having proper phone etiquette and shit is such a thing that's gone way of the past. And that also goes on the same level, even though I'm not doing it and you're not doing it. But dating, it's the same thing. Like I hate looking from the outside at how the digital, what was supposed to be improvement, honestly has just ruined, it's ruined social life. We went, in fact, I say this and I'll let it ride, bruh. We went, me and my wife, Sunday night, we went to a club. It's the first time, Glenn, I've been to a club in
Right.
easily maybe 15 years. Like I ain't been to it. Like, I stood in line. I played a cover charge. These are things I just don't do anymore. Like, it was a lot. But what kind of saddened me, at one point we were in this little VIP section, and all the words just sound like muddled bass and mumbling, just extra loud. But there were like maybe 4 or 5 tables to my right, that were filled with women, like all women. And like every time they went to take a shot, they had to take a picture. Every time a song came on and one of them was getting ratchet, they had to go on live and show you how they could look back at it. And you know what I'm saying? But they were doing all this shit on the phone, all this shit online, but not one of them was dancing with nary a dude. Like, there was no dudes like dancing with the women whatsoever. And then when you said something to the dudes about dancing with the women, they were all like, "Oh man, don't nobody dance with the women no more." Like, at one point, we were on a balcony and I could look down. There was a shorty that was dancing and she was going for hers, right? But it was 6 dudes standing around her in a circle, like it was a circle jerk, watching her, arms crossed, doing all this kind of shit, man. I was like, nigga, if that is not like harkening back to slave days, like, I don't know what it is. Dance with this fucking chick. Like, what the fuck? Like, one of you just dance with her, please. But like, the whole night, man, like, that was the thing that kind of blew me. Like, I was really upset. Like, I was like, what happened to like dancing with somebody when you go out? Like, what
Yeah.
happened to just having a good time? But like, everybody, all the dudes were like the hardest rock niggas you will ever see in your life, huddled around a hookah that nobody could fucking afford. You know what I'm saying? Blowing for their life. And then like all the girls were upstairs. They were getting it in. Like, they were going hard. And like, even when I did see the 1 or 2 dudes that tried to come up and dance with him, it was like, "Ew, what you doing? Yeah, why you close to me? Why you in my live, nigga?" And it was like, I'd like to meet you in person, I guess. I don't know.
It's like you ask them to dance, and they're like, "Oh yeah," and then they bring you on the thing, and then just give you the phone. So you
right?
So
Like,
you
I
can
was expecting girls to like just like, "Oh, girls, go ahead and give me the swipe emojis. Should I see dance with this nigga or should he go?" Like,
live
it was,
tender.
bruh, like, live Hinge. Stop playing. Like, it was
live Hinge.
bruh, it was a lot, and it made me really, I enjoy being out with my wife. Don't get me wrong, and I know she can hear me, and we talked about it already. But like, it was really kind of sad to me, man. Like,
Yeah,
this is
it's like
what
we lost
dating.
something. Yeah,
Yeah, man. Like, this is what dating and interaction has evolved to. Is people will be sitting up, swiping people left and right on their phone, and the person that you swiping that you really like could probably be sitting right behind you. But ain't nobody turning around and looking at that shit. I just like I said, I really wish we had. I really wish things went back to like us having house phones.
Mm,
You know what I mean?
something.
Like,
Well, it reminds me of that scene. Remember in Demolition Man, where like Sylvester Stallone what's his
that's
name?
Wesley.
Yeah, so Sylvester Stallone was he was about to go get it in with Sandra Bullock. You know what I mean? Officer Huxley.
Oh,
he was about to go get it in, and
yeah.
he was about to get it in, and then she puts the helmet on, and he's like, "Yo, we didn't even touch." Like, what?
We didn't even touch it. We don't touch. We
And
don't
it's like
touch.
I feel like that's where we're going to as a society. You know what I mean? Like, don't touch me, don't look at me, just put the helmet on, and then we can, exchange.
Well, where we are now,
thought.
you're right. Where we are now, again, being up in the city, and watching a lot of young comics, and young and comic does not necessarily mean how old people is. It just means how long they've been doing comedy. But
Right.
like you see it, and it's just like what freaks me out now is like I definitely went to school at a time where there were dudes that you be out with, and you would have to keep your head on a constant swivel when you went to the club because you always had this one nigga in your crew who was literally grabbing in the ass and trying to stick his finger up some girl's short ass skirt and then play it off like, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, well, I don't know what you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, I ain't even do no shit like that. And I used to get really mad at my dudes for doing that shit because I was always the one that would get hit. Like, I'm not grabbing shit, but like I'm catching the fucking swing of my man ducking. When we were in the club, I don't even know how this is gonna come off, but it's just the truth. The way that some of the women were talking to the brothers in the club was just like, yo, like where can you go from here? Like there's nowhere else to go. Either we're gonna fuck or we're not. Like there was no relationship. Like the way that the shorties was talking, like
There's no small talk or nothing.
None of that. And then like, when it's over with, like what that one chick say? Man, I give him something. He like the motherfucker I want to hold you after he come. Like, oh
yeah.
No,
the game's all messed up. The game is all messed up.
You mean I'm not supposed to hold you after we do that? Like, what the fuck? Like,
like this. I'm not built for this. I want to have a connection and be.
Man.
I'm not built for this era. I'm glad I jumped off the merry-go-round when I did because I'm not built for what it is right now.
Nah, man. All this shit nowadays, bro. My wife and I both said a lot. Two things we definitely say to each other a lot is how much we love each other and how much we are both happy that we are not fucking single. It is nasty in these streets, bro. It's nasty in these streets. That's all I can say. Like and again, it really boils back down to me on the most basic level interaction. This is really about how people interact with each other and are willing to talk with each other and all that kind of stuff. That to me is a change. Like, for years, women quite correctly talked about how chauvinistic and misogynistic men could be and men in general can be. And not to say that that's changed because, there are a lot of men out there who are still misogynistic, straight up, barbarian Neanderthal motherfuckers. That totally exists. But the other thing that seems to exist now are way more women who are 4 and maybe 5 times more Neanderthal than some of these fucking dudes. Like, I mean, look at Lauren Boebert, look at fucking Marjorie Taylor Greene, and like some of the shit that these dumbass brides be saying and shit. And you be like, yo, like, yeah, there was a time as Black people, we would always, whether it was a running joke or whatever, it was always a time where, man, I'm not gonna be the one to set us back. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Wait.
I don't think cats even care about that anymore.
Because you're talking about savageness. Did you see the whole thing with Adam 22 and and Lena the Plug. Did you know what I'm talking about?
I am aware. You're talking about
Jason
back on
Love.
Fig. What do they call that shit? No Jumper?
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, I am.
I'm aware thanks to Reddit of the story. I know that old dude that hosts No Jumper is either married to or talking to
No, he's married to it's his wife.
his wife is a porn actress, and she messed around with
She only did Girl on Girl, right? That was her thing. And
yeah.
then this is the first time she was doing it with the male
dude.
actor, and it's a big black dude, and
It's Jason Love, the dude from Black.
Yeah, and
and
he did
a
what he
couple other
did.
places.
He did what he
Shout out
does.
Jason Love. Shout out Jason Love. Shout out all my adult sex working people. But shout out Jason Love. He's a good dude.
But he, you know Jason. Okay, cool.
I
I
know
was
a
at
couple of
Exotica. I
those
think
people.
I might have met. I don't know if he was at the Exotica I was at, but yeah. Anyway, I don't know. It's a weird thing to watch because apparently they're okay with it, but the internet wants to make them feel bad about it.
Yeah, and the internet can kiss my ass. Like, look, I got a homeboy. In fact, he probably take the advertising. So let me do it right. If those of you who fuck with Chatterbait, there's my boys on there, the Boom Boom Room, Chaz and his shorty, and they make no bones about the fact that she does what she does. From time to time, he will step in and be an actor if they need him to be. But for them, it's strictly about cash. Like they're not like I watch these cats sell panties that they bought for $20 max, like 5 pair of drawers that they bought from TJ Maxx. I watched them sell each pair of drawers for $5,000. Because they were artisan, you know what I'm saying? Like they were freshly used drawers. And whatever y'all wanted old girl to do, all you had to do is say that and then pay the amount of money that it would take for her to do it, and they'll vacuum seal that shit, FedEx it, and send it off to your house the next day. But it's a job. Like it's one of those things where you and I, no doubt, would never. I can't even partially. I can make jokes about OnlyFans and stuff like that, but I also know that OnlyFans does more adult industry stuff. So those who want to jump down that plane, but all that adult industry shit, man, I ain't got the heart for that shit. I don't like taking my shirt off when I go to the pool and I can swim. So ain't no way in the world that you're gonna have me all up on film, oiled up and greased up, trying to stroke somebody off, and like,
listen,
nah, man.
His wife gets fully piped down in this in this video. And I'm not saying that I've seen the entire thing, but I did do some research.
I totally have. I've no problem saying I've seen it twice. But I also
here's
a fan of Black. I'm a fan of Black in general.
Here's the thing. He was fine with it until I think dude said that he piped her down better than Adam. He's like, oh, most definitely I piped her. And then Adam got upset and just sent a Twitter thing to him, say like, yo, respect your lane and and all this other stuff. And I'm like, all right, you can't have it both ways. You can't you can't say you don't care and it's all good and then get sensitive about it when he does what he inevitably was going to do, which is talk about it. She talked about it. And so now it's like kind of a weird thing.
How that work out for Keke Palmer's baby daddy? Look,
hey, listen.
End of the day, it's the same situation. Point blank.
Did you
it's
see
the same situation?
Wait, did you see that? Me and Mike B were talking about that. We were talking about the Keke Palmer thing, and I broke it down. I broke it down. I was like, you gotta watch the instant replay of what happened. In the instant replay, you will see that Keke was dancing. You know what I mean? Usher comes up, he's doing this thing, and then he gets a little bit too close. And then he puts the microphone on her lip. And I was telling Mike, I was like, that is the point where baby daddy picked up his phone and was like, come on. And then he needed to understand why he was upset and he couldn't, but I could pinpoint it. It's because he put the microphone on her lip, which is very suggestive. That's where he got upset. So after that, that's when Kiki was like, all right, this is getting a little, and then she backed up. She did it as in a sexy, not like a get away from me, but she did it a sexy way. It was like, and she gave him the no. She shook it off or whatever. So it's just like, if you break down the whole play-by-play, you like, I don't think she did anything, or I don't know if she did anything out of the ordinary. I don't know. I just think it's odd. But what I was going to say is, as a man, you start off with little shit like letting your girl, and we were talking about the Jonah Hill thing, let your girl pose for pictures, then you let her go to concerts and everything, and then by the end of it, you end up like Adam 22 with let your wife get paid by Big Black Shoes. So
I've got two very close
escalation.
Friends. I've got a married couple that well, they're not married, they're a together couple that I know, and both of them worked in the adult industry on a very high level. And when you did, in fact, it's not even good to use them. I got a better idea. When we did the podcast, we had Lisa Ann on. If you know anything about interracial porn, Lisa Ann is the girl. Like she's the one.
Help me become a man.
Yeah, bruh. And she said something that I thought was super interesting, which was that even though she's a porn actress and everybody's seeing all three of her holes and her tits all over the world, she's single. And she said the hardest part of doing what she does is trying to date, because she was like, regular dudes in the street see her in porn, and in their mind, yeah, they'd love to have sex with her, but they're worried that she would compare them to, the actors that you see her with. And her point was, these guys that I'm acting with are guys who are basically sexual Olympians. Like, this is what they do. And she was like, even though on film, we might make it look good, and yeah, you totally see him penetrating us. Some of that stuff we can't fake, but she was like, on the same tip, for us, it's about the performance on the film. It's not about the performance in real life. Like, whether we do or that, we can figure that out when they cut the cameras off, and then we can turn the cameras back on in just enough time to catch me doing what I do. But she was like, if you put it on if the editor and the producers do the film right, she said something that took 15 minutes will look like it took 30 to 45. He was like, the way that they edited and stuff, it looks like this dude was stroking for 45 minutes. She was like, I can promise you. She said, I've done hundreds, thousands of porns. And she was like, I've never, ever been in a scene with a dude that was like going on an hour of this dude just stroking out. She was like, it doesn't happen. But like we watch these things and we very unfairly compare ourselves to people who are sexual fucking Olympians. And
I'm an editor. At the end of the day, they like, by the way, I can see those cuts. Yeah. I'm an editor. I can see. I'm like, you repeated that scene. I haven't seen that. But no, you're 100%. But here's the thing. Here's the thing about that. Like, they're going out there and they're doing their job or whatever. But there's definitely a difference. Like, you can get fucked, but then also if you make love, that's a totally different thing. And I know that sounds corny. People are going to be but it's real talk. And I think this is the problem with us now, is everybody want to fuck, nobody wants to make love.
Not only do I agree with you, but that hits different when you hear Lisa Ann say something like that. Like, she literally was like, she was like, guys really think because I'm a porn actress that I expect all the guys that I sleep with to just be amazing. She was like, I'm gonna tell you right now. She said, what turns me on more than a guy with a stroke game? I was like, no. She said, a guy who's willing to admit that he can't last for more than 5 minutes. Because she was like, in real life, most people like, and she totally, I gotta pull up the tape on that shit. She ripped the amateur game so hard. She ripped the amateur game. She was like, yeah, that's the worst thing that ever happened. She was like, you're supposed to do that stuff in your own crib. You know what I'm saying? Like, you were supposed to do that shit, behind closed doors and keep those videos safe. But she was like, now with the advent of people doing the amateur stuff, she was like, she said that shit. She said it was an AI quote. She said, people are worried about AI. She said, you need to stop worrying about AI and you better start worrying about cheap production. Because she was like, if anything is going to shut down the porn industry or any of these other industries, it's going to be cheap production. And she was like, and that's what people are really missing right now. She said, we all went through the quarantine, and she was like, "Isn't it amazing how many people all of a sudden came out and they were actors and models and producers?" And she's like, "Because now the technology is advanced, you can do all this shit at home.
Yeah.
You don't need to go to the studio no more. You don't need to hang out in seedy ass places to do this shit. Like, you can wait till your kids go to sleep and turn the cameras on." And I was like, "Damn, that's scary," but she's right.
It is true. That's
It's
what we're
scary.
coming to. That's what's happening
Yeah,
right
no,
now.
we're here. We're here. Like, it's not where we're coming. We're here. And oh gosh, that was horrible. That was a pun. But we're here now, and it's like I said, I'll say this and kill. Like, it's to
Right.
me, it's what makes being a comedian in this day and age really hard. The judgment that the community at large is willing to throw out for you saying a joke is faster and more harsh than I think it's ever been. And then the other thing that makes it really hard right now is how quickly information is disseminating to the public, like how fast things get out.
Speed of
Because
light, bro. Speed of light.
you know what I'm saying? Like, at one point you had what, a good 6 to 9 month window to make a good political joke.
Mhm.
I'd say now you got 6 to 9 weeks.
You got to get it out there,
If
bro.
that much, yeah. Like, that's been my biggest issue right now. Like, we talk about offline, but like that's my biggest thing right now. Is trying to put myself on some type of content schedule that keeps me comfortable,
Yeah.
but also keeps me relevant. You know what I mean? Like, it's difficult right now. Shout out
I think we need a
the
collective.
comedians feeling Matt Rife.
Yeah, I feel
Shout out Matt
like we
Rife.
need a collective of people who do that, get together and do that, and that can help us all pop, because I feel like everybody's trying to go at it alone, and alone we won't survive. And like you said, we got to learn to care for each other, and a big part of that, me, I always talk about that ever since you first met me. I'm big on like, we need to let's get together and do things. The execution that needs some help, but I feel like we need to figure that out. Listen, this has been an amazing time, and you know how we go. We could talk for another 2 hours or whatever.
Oh, easy, man. No doubt.
But I'm gonna leave it there, dude. Thank you for helping me test this out.
Anytime, man. You already know.
The podcast is coming back. I think it's going to be good, and we'll have you on as like a regular guest. But like,
I'm down, bro.
man.
I'm down.
I think the new format is working out pretty well. I might add a few whistles, little bells, and whatnot. Love to get your insight. I don't think at the top we talked about your intro or credentials or any of that type of stuff, but
Nah, we don't need to. Like you said, you're testing and getting it back out there. We can do all that official shit later. I ain't worried about.
There you go. Well, there you go. At the bottom of the screen, follow Ralph. There's his Instagram, there's his Twitter. And you know what we do, man. This is what we do. We talk. We like to have these conversations. We talked a little bit about parenthood. We talked about some schooling. We talked about current issues, AI. We talked about the porn game. We basically ran the gamut. So there's a lot out there for you to wet your whistle with the relaunch of the
no
Blerd
doubt.
Dad podcast.
No doubt. Good time. I enjoyed it.
Until next time, we've had an amazing time with y'all, and y'all be good. God bless, and stay blurty, y'all. Oh wait, hold on, wait.
Aqua Team Hunger Force.
Hold on, wait, but look, you see what I'm rocking, right?
Oh, okay. Well, wait a minute though. Wait a minute. Hold up. Watch this. Okay, I see you, but watch this. Does yours do this though? Wait.
What's that?
Hold on. Let me do it. Okay, here we go. Boom. Do.
Oh,
no.
Okay. You lighten up.
Wait a minute. There's too many lights on in my house. Hold on. Where is it? Kitchen. Boom. Front fucking door. God damn it. Nobody wants me to live. Hold on a second. Just watch. Just wait. You'll see.
I'm waiting. Wait. In the meantime, I'm gonna do mine. Look, do. Look, look. This is the pulsing. I'm pulsing right now. Pulse.
Nice.
Until Ralph gets back.
Oh, wait a minute, because of the background.
Nice and bright.
Yeah. It kills the fact that this is a glow in the dark shirt. I can't show my glow in the dark shirt. I want to show my shirt. There's a glow in the dark.
I like. Okay.
Oh damn, you Google. But like, if you could take the light away, all of this shit blows out, like
That's
glows
great.
and shit.
Yeah, I've been on it, man.
Aquatine
I
Hunger
might
Force.
have to check that. Would you say that's Aquatine?
Yeah, Aquatine Hunger Force. Shout out Daylight Curfew. I need y'all niggas to sponsor me. I got too much of your fucking clothes. So like, yeah,
Okay.
like Daylight Curfew makes some dope shit.
We could also use some sponsors here. If y'all don't know, I'm rocking the My Hero Academia. That's my brand new, my favorite anime right now that I'm rocking with.
You know, we got to come back and talk about that Superman shit. You been watching that yet?
Not yet. I wanted to finish because I got a limited edition trial for a Crunchyroll, so I wanted to finish.
Ooh.
I wanted to finish My Hero Academia before my trial ran out. So once I finish,
I support that.
Yeah, I'm trying to use up all my minutes before it runs out, and then I was going to get on the Superman. Yo, did you see The Blackening, by the way?
We bought it. Yeah, I absolutely saw The Blackening.
Okay.
I thought first of all, I thought Jermaine did an amazing fucking job. I love everything that Jermaine Fowler is turning into as far as an artist is concerned. But I was pleasantly surprised. I will say that I definitely was worried that it was going to be high level Tyler Perry level of corny, and it was anything but. It was anything but.
I was very I laughed out loud a couple of times. I actually got a text from my wife that was like, what are you laughing at like that?
Yeah, they kind of murdered that shit. Like the interracial couple shit was dope. The fact that without being a spoiler, the way that they ended it, because I mean, who's calling the cops? Shit.
Yeah, right. Yeah, hilarious. Oh man,
I thought it was way too many things done brilliantly correct.
So many. I mean, even from turning the gun sideways, that's hilarious. Oh man, the whole thing was solid.
When the big girl walked in, and a couple, girl, you smell like dick. Oh, that's a real situation.
Yo,
that is
my favorite quote from the whole thing was when Duke came in and she was like, they were like introducing her, talking to him, like, yo, what are you about?
You're original
like, I don't know that nigga. I was like, yo, that's my quote.
Yeah.
I don't know that nigga.
They had a couple of moments in there where it was like she told that dude, she's like, but you're like original black, like you're an original Casey black, like you're still.
No, they had a lot there, man. Yo, we could keep talking forever, man. We gotta not let time get so far between us before we catch up. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt. I'll not that that's gonna help you, but I'll be down there tomorrow.
Oh, shut up! Are you serious?
Mm-hmm. Tomorrow is the MLS All-Star versus Arsenal thing.
Ooh. Okay.
And tomorrow's the skills shootout, so we're coming down for that. And then turning around and coming back up to New Jersey.
Okay. Well, if y'all you know what it is, if you want to stop by, there's an open mic too tomorrow night, out this way in Woodbridge. I don't know if you're out this way, but if you are, come through. Electric Palm, man. We always just telling jokes up there.
My wife says hi. Word.
I said, what's up? Sorry to keep him up so late. I apologize. I'm leaving now. 11 o'clock was the cutoff.
He said, sorry to keep him up so late. She said she don't care that you kept me up late. She's like, it's just that he's loud as fuck. And I was like,
I'm sorry. I'm gonna turn down my microphone. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna fade out my microphone and leave it at that.
I'm gonna take my headphones off and blur the speakers for real. That's what I'm about to do.
Listen, this has been a Blurred Dad podcast. We've had an amazing time with y'all. 2 hours on this one, but it was a good conversation. You got everything you wanted to hear. Tune in next time, which I will be announcing sometime in the soon. Until then, stay blurry, y'all.